Hello, and welcome to Families First. We're excited to have you with us. I tell you, we created this video for some different reasons here. And one of the different things is we wanted you to have an opportunity to get to know the agency and a little bit about our history, what we've accomplished with it a little bit. And then the other part of that too is we put together some online training for you. I think it's important for you to know some employee expectations that we have for you. And we want you to know from an employer standpoint our values and what we're going to make sure we do for you. So I think this will be beneficial just to know a little bit about the history of who you're going to be working for. We're excited to have you. And before we do introductions, me and Leon always just want to say we're always very proud of the people that work for us and the passion that you have in your heart through your education and through your experience that you've done to work with children and families is just very special. And we're excited to have you with us. And obviously, our team that selected you to be with us saw the values and the work ethic that you have to make a difference working with children and families. So we're excited to have you with us. So we're going to kind of get into a little bit about the agency. We have two managing partners. I'm the first one. I'm Rick Venega. And this is Leon Kishman. And he's me and Leon have been part of the agency for 15 years. And Leon will start with this, but what's been your experience that you've worked with kids and why'd you get into this field?
Well, I've been in human services for a little over 30 years and started off as a third shift child care worker at a residential facility. And things just sort of seemed to fit, so they escalated from there. I ended up working at another residential facility out in western Iowa and spent some time as a cottage parent, and then ended up coming down to UNI, proud graduate of the master's program at UNI. So ended up working in detention for a number of years, and then went on to work and manage a day treatment program for juvenile delinquents here in Waterloo and Black Hawk County. And then had an opportunity to oversee some of the family-centered services for a while. And I've had a variety of service opportunities over the years. And at a certain point, you and I had run into each other out at the detention center and had some fun out there and got to know each other. And it was really an opportunity that I saw in my career when it was like, you know what, here's a person that I think I could work with. And so, always kind of the personality of, I can do it better than somebody else. Don't mean to sound arrogant, but you always think you can do things a little bit better. So, when we got together, I was like, yeah, let's do this thing together. And it's been a great experience for the last almost 15 years. So
great.
That's where I'm at.
One of the things Leon's going to talk to you about a little bit is about some of our accomplishments and what we've done and all that. But I remember when we first started, me and Leon started this company back in, was it 2001 or 2000? And we had a little file cabinet about this tall with just a few files in there. And today we have rooms and storage sheds of files. That speaks to our growth, doesn't it? But we still have that one little file cabinet that we started with as a little bit of a souvenir, don't we, as far as that goes. Like I said before, I'm Rick Venega, and I've been in this, just like Leon, about 30 years. I've been part of the state training school in Eldora. I manage some residential programs around the state. And I've had the opportunity to meet Leon over the years, and I saw the values that he has and the hard work ethic. And we decided that we thought we could put a good product together. And we've had a wonderful relationship. We've had wonderful people around us, and we're just excited about the future to come. I think right now, though, we'll how about we talk a little bit about what are some of our all stamps of success that we've had and where we're at, maybe a little bit, Leon. Can you tell the employees?
Well, just some of the things I think individually it's important to know is, one of the values we have here is providing good leadership for our employees. And you being on the statewide Child Welfare Partnership Committee and having addressed a lot of changes that need to be in the child welfare system speaks volumes to that. I've been part of the Coalition for Children and Families. So it's just, I think it's important for people to understand we're hands-on, and not only in our office, but out in the state at that level as well.
That's a good thing you're talking about. I want everybody to know. when we talk about the coalition, you're new to Families First, you might not understand what that term is, but the coalition is made up of some of the biggest agencies in the state that come together and work on issues with child welfare, Medicaid, and everything else. Just a little bit to show Leon's leadership. He was the president of the coalition, chosen by his peers, and did an outstanding job of service with that. So when you talk about the leadership, that first part of it is we represent you on the state level, local level. Families First is very involved. So Leon is going to talk to us a little bit about some of the accomplishments we've had at Families First and what makes it that you can tell that we've had growth in that.
So just to kind of give you a little bit of a background, I'm not going to go into a lot of our numbers, but we started almost 15 years ago. It was kind of funny, Rick talked about the two-drawer file cabinet. Well, we had one county, 0 cases, and 0 staff. So we really had nothing when we started. But today, we serve 43 counties. We've had an opportunity, and this is where I really get proud of what we've done, is we have been able to serve over 14,000 families in Iowa in the last 15 years. And that's just really humbling and amazing to me that we have that opportunity. That doesn't mean we help everyone, but we certainly have an opportunity to do that. We've also had an opportunity now. We have about 175 staff at this point in time. But what that opportunity is, we get to provide, hopefully good living wages and good benefits to those families that they can do what they love doing and provide for their families as well. So just real quickly, as far as our breakout, very roughly, we do about 55% of our services of those families are through the Department of Human Services, and the other 45% are what we call voluntary counseling supports and education services. Or other things like we do some small juvenile court grants and things such as that. But our growth is not one that we've really intended to do. It wasn't like we set out to be empire builders. It was really more of a quality begets quantity. We really took the mentality that we did the direct services, people liked what we did, and at a certain point we just couldn't do it anymore. And so we brought people on to help support what we were doing and what we believed in. And we really kind of built on that notion that it's our agency name, Families First. We try to take that philosophy and belief system into the families that work with us, the families that we work for, and really built on that mission of partnering with families today to foster growth and success for tomorrow. That's always the forefront of what we're doing. It's not just a matter of, I think we can do this here or we can do that there. It's the mentality is, does it make sense, and is that helpful to families if we do grow in those ways? So one of the other things that we've always believed in is being hands-on. Rick and I, we talked about being hands-on at the state level. We go to group supervisions every month. We really have our hands in creating the systems and building the infrastructure of the agency, and not just kind of being those owners that are sort of absentee in a lot of ways. It's really encouraging right now that the growth we've had allows us to build in ways that now we can do even more things and sort of hand some of those things off to the regional directors that we've put in place and Medicaid managers and those sorts of things. So, like I said, not intended to be large, but at a certain point when you get so large, if you're going to support the families that work for you, you've got to get larger. And I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to put benefits in place like 401k plans and health insurance and dental insurance, all those kinds of things that we know that it takes for families to be successful and have a decent living these days. So that's kind of where we are today. As far as the future goes, just very briefly, what our vision is to have all of our offices be full service locations. We want to be able to be preventive, responsive, and supportive in a sustainable way after services are done. So when we look at doing things like having integrated health programs and having therapists in every office and BHIS workers and FSRP workers, all of those kinds of things are so that our families can either, if they come to our attention, we can help them stay out of the system. If they're in the system, we help them get out sooner. And once we get them out, hopefully help keep them out of it. So that's kind of the vision that we have for services. And as far as technology is one of the things we're moving forward with very quickly. And it's all for just the point of connectivity, efficiency, and support for the staff so that they can actually, you can actually go out and do the work that you're asked to do. Rick, that's kind of the thumbnail that I could give of it. Anything I'm missing?
Yeah,
there?
a couple things I want to say. With everything you're talking about, it's important to know we're nationally accredited, aren't we? Yeah. And that's something to be really proud of, that we're nationally accredited, and we have to go through a lot of policies and procedures and everything else to show a national body that we're certified and we can do a lot of services in that. I think one of the other things too that I'm proud of is we do satisfaction surveys every year. And in the last 2 years that we've done it, Leon, you have to help me if I'm wrong on this, but over 97% of our staff say that we have a good reputation in the community. That's critical to me. And it shows wherever you're at, wherever you're sitting and part of Families First, I can guarantee you that you have a good reputation in your community. The other thing is, I believe over 95% of all the staff said that they would tell their family or their friends, recommend to work with Families First if they're in this field. I don't know if you get a bigger compliment than that.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely true. It's there's a lot of questions and whatnot, but it all boils down to do you respect who you're working for enough to recommend them to somebody else? And you're right. I'm very proud of that fact that most people here. I mean, you're never going to satisfy everybody, but almost everybody likes working for Families First.
Yeah.
And a lot of the staff that we have been word of mouth, that somebody else has known somebody that recommended to somebody, hey, you might want to look at Families First if you want to keep doing this work.
Yeah, I think another critical point of Families First for you to know is the stability we have in our leadership. For example, in the last 6-7 years, we've had 0% turnover in our executive team. We've just added on, haven't we, to our executive team. And with our supervisors around the state, however many we have, as we keep growing, but we've had very, very little, probably a 2% turnover rate of supervisors in the past 7-8 years. And if there is turnover, it's because they've gone to the department as major players and major positions as far as that goes. So I think the stability of the leadership of the agency shows what direction we're going and under our vision of what we're trying to do. Leon, let's talk about our roles a little bit, as we have a lot of new employees that when you come with us, you might want to know with 2 managing partners, how do we split our responsibilities?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because when I was talking about being hands-on with things, you and I have had our hands in a lot of things. As we've now made this last leap, we've really split things out so that I now head up all of the counseling supports and education services, the Medicaid services, and you head up the child welfare services. What that's really allowed us to do, I think, at this point now is really be able to focus on that, be experts on that, and not just maintain the services, but really be able to grow them and make them just more professional. But really be able to, again, go out and do the growth that we want to do and build on in the ways that make sense.
And be focused on our,
yeah.
That's what's the nice thing that me and Leon's vision is me being focused with the child welfare and all the policies, procedures, and Leon with all the policies and procedures, because there's always rapid changes in the different funding streams we work with. And we constantly have to update our paperwork, our credentials, our certifications, and all that. So it's good that we have someone that's split, focused on, and if you'd like to look at the structure of Families First and how it breaks down all the way down, there is something on our associate page where you can take a look at the structure of that as far as that goes. As we talked about our roles, is there anything that we missed on that?
Those are our major roles that we head up in service lines, but just so everybody knows, internally we also have just recently hired a human resource manager, which is a great thing because that's one of the things we've kind of been doing by committee. But it's important to know Rick heads up all of our finances and also takes care of, besides finances, you oversee the HR person and I take care of the marketing and the technology piece of what we do. So we also still do those other internal things and not just the service lines.
Yeah, and Leon's been known to have to come and change a light bulb or something once in a while. Leon can be the maintenance man. He's a jack of many trades, very talented with that as far as that goes, isn't it? We've done, the lesson with this is we have taken this agency from the bottom with nothing and had to do the work ourselves and all the things that come with it until we can hire all the people. And we've been very successful with that because we hired the best people around us. And that's what's made Families First successful, is hiring fantastic people. So with that said, I want to just talk, and will you help me if I miss a point on some of this, but I want to talk about some employee expectations that we have for you, and then Leon's going to talk a little bit about what our values and what we want to do for you, and then we'll kind of wrap up a little bit with some tips in that. Mm-hmm. But the first thing is just the professionalism. What comes with that, that's hard to describe because that's so vague. I can sit here and give you a list of what's professional and what's not, but I won't cover it. Over the years, we've seen it all. And so, but I will say this. I'm going to give you an example, and I want you to think about when you're in high school, I want you to think about a high school teacher and think of the role modeling that they have to do. And that's you now, because you are a social worker that carries a caseload working with families, and it's very important to be professional in the community. And in this day and time, we talk about social media. Make sure your social media is clean. Make sure that you have if you're on Facebook, make sure that you're very careful. Don't allow clients on your Facebook page. Be careful with Twitter accounts. Be careful with all that kind of stuff. You probably know, and we have seen over the years, different people, and you see it in the news, getting in trouble with social media, saying stuff and all that's negative. You don't want to be sitting there with a profile picture of you sitting there with at some party with beer and this and that. Keep it professional, like your teacher in your high school. It makes you better, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. You feel like with something like that. And with professionalism comes boundaries. Make sure that we're not getting entangled in boundaries with your clients, because clients will be needy. They'll start asking you for more stuff. We don't ever trade and sell goods. There's a lot of stuff that clients will be asking, can you come over for supper? Can you do... You have to keep it professional, don't you, Absolutely. As far as that goes. So, and if you have any questions about someone asking you something, talk to your supervisor about it. But that's something that comes up real important. When I think of professional too, I say, think about when we go to court, making sure we dress nice, and ask your supervisor and talk to your supervisor about how you should dress. We're not talking about walking around in a suit all day, right. But we're talking about making sure you're not walking around with holes in your clothes and stuff like that. You're professional. And imagine yourself, me and Leon always talk about this, going into a doctor, and in comes your doctor and he's got holes in his pants, he's 20 minutes late for your appointment, and he just looks like they're unorganized. You've all seen it. We've seen it. Mm-hmm. You got to be professional, and that's important to do. So that's enough on that topic. The active learner is another ingredient it's very important. We have an associate page. Get on there, look at the documents, and understand your role in documentation and what you need to do. We also have a lot of tools that we've developed, and you'll be involved in trainings every quarter that we do. Evidence-based trainings that we're going to teach you, so you have to be an active learner and taking them tools, put it in your toolbox, so you have a wide variety of tools to work with clients and that, don't you? So you got to be an active learner. You got to ask questions in that. That's how we became successful. We ask a lot of questions. Don't be scared to ask questions. Be an active learner. Ask for examples. Ask for feedback. That'll make you better. We can only give you so much information, can't we, as far as that goes. I always talk about being organized. I don't care if you're on the Medicaid side of things or child welfare. You have to do reports. You have to do session notes. Make sure you put that in your schedule and know when you have to do reports, when you have to do session notes, where stuff goes. I'm going to give you a tip right now. And you and me have talked about that. Me and Leon do staff orientation programs every quarter or so. One of the things we say to be organized, there's so many things that go to different places, don't they? Yeah. For emails, your HR billing, your billing, your notes, case note. It gets overwhelming if you're new. Go to our associate page. We have a document on there that says where everything goes. And look at that under agency forms, and it'll show you every place that you're supposed to send something, like your billing, your session notes, your reports, whatever service that you're providing, it'll show you where to go. And I think that's important to have in front of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it would be confusing where to send stuff. When I think of organization too, I think of your schedule that you're meeting with clients, making sure that you're organized with that and you're on schedule and you're on time. And the last thing you want to hear is someone calling. You wouldn't want to be called from someone and say, "Oh, I forgot about your appointment today." You know, making sure you're organized, right? Anything else?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that, just to expand on that a little bit, is we hear it all the time from other places that families have a ton of people coming into their lives that we don't give enough credit to. We think about, okay, I have this appointment with you. Well, a lot of times people don't think about, well, but they got 10 other appointments that they have to deal with. So for us to just reschedule with them all the time just to kind of suit our own needs, that's not acceptable. You know, our families deserve better than that. They deserve for us to be professional in that, you know, if I set an appointment, I'm going to be there for that appointment. I'm going to be on time with that appointment. And to that point too, the communication, whether it's internal with our support staff, whether it's with the supervisor, or whether it's a family or the Department of Human Services, whoever that may be, they need that quick turnaround in communication. And we have technology to the point these days, there's no excuse for not getting back to people. We don't want to hear that, well, I have a 24-hour window to get back to people. Well, okay, maybe, but the fact of the matter is anybody can get back to anybody in 30 seconds, and then you look like a professional when you're communicating that way. So I just can't stress enough for us, that's how we've been successful in a lot of ways, is just constantly communicating with people.
If you're still paying attention at this point, I'll just throw this out, that he just jumped on my Cliff Notes and took a topic ahead of me, which almost made me lose my train of thought.
Yeah.
So what you'll find with also the agency is we have some fun sometimes, don't we? And it is a very serious job, and we're talking about a lot of stuff, but what you'll find is the great support you get from us too. You're going to have a lot of support through you'll find the support you have at Families First is critical in being successful in your job, isn't it? And the other thing, I just want to say one other thing with the communication. Internally, you have to communicate back with people. I don't want to hear, one of the things that always frustrates me and Leon when we're dealing with outside identities, you email someone, you don't hear nothing for 4 days. You have to check your email daily. You communicate. Our rule of thumb is 24 hours to get back on an email. And especially internally, if someone needs to get a hold of you about a report, payroll, session notes, anything like that, you get back to them immediately. We don't wait days in and all that. So being a good communicator that way. Being a good communicator with your thoughts when you're in a family team meeting, when you're at court, when you're testifying, all the places you're at, work on your terms, your verbal language, and learn how to communicate that you sound effective and professional in what you're doing. The last thing, Leon put this on here actually with this, we'll talk about team orientation, or team oriented, in the sense that we really are a team on the local level, and you're going to have a team around you if you're doing child welfare services with the department. It's a partnership. And so you have to be team oriented, don't you, working with people and that, with your supervisor and anything that you're doing. So, and your clients, you have to be team oriented with them as far as that goes. So them are some of the basic things that me and Leon outlined for expectations that we'd have with our new employees. And Leon, you're going to talk a little bit about our values and what we offer them.
So it's fair that, I jumped on yours, so you kind of jumped on one of mine, which was that, we want to be supportive. We believe that for you to be successful, you need to feel like you can come to, whether it's us directly, whether it's a supervisor, whoever that may be, a coworker, that there's always somebody around you that can help answer your questions or give you that support on a tough day when it's like, oh my God, I can't go through another one of these days, because they're out there and it's just hard work. So our obligation as an organization is for you to never feel like you're out there on your own, because a lot of the days you are out there on your own. You're on the road, you're in somebody's home. You might not see any of your coworkers face to face for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe more. But that doesn't mean that you can't call into the office and to talk to your support staff, or call into the office or call into a coworker's phone number. So from a support standpoint, I think that's one thing I'm really proud of in our staff satisfaction surveys, is we always get rated very high on just feeling that support around. And that's one of the biggest complaints we've heard from people coming from other places is they didn't feel that support.
Internal staff that get high rankings working with you, wherever office you're at. We have internal staff that'll be supportive of you and they get high marks.
Absolutely. And the team orientation, again, it kind of goes to that support, but a lot of people talk about being a team, but I don't think any of you will ever go into any office, no matter if you're from Burlington to Decorah to Fort Dodge, and not feel like you have a team around you. Everybody here really buys that philosophy that you said it the other day, we're much better together than we are alone. And that's just the reality. We couldn't do what we do without the team we have around us or without our partnership. So hopefully that mentality and philosophy trickles down from our beliefs to everybody else, and it appears to through the staff satisfaction surveys. The other thing that we have an obligation as an organization to do, and I talked about it a little bit back with benefits, is when we take on new contracts or when we build on new services, we're always thinking about, okay, how do we put back then some of those finances so that we can build on those things that families really need, to lead a comfortable life. I spoke to the fact that one of our satisfaction survey requests 2 years ago was that we start a 401k program. Well, within about a year, we had a 401k program because we were in a situation where we could afford to do that, and so that's what we've got in place. Every year we keep looking at what other things do staff need to in that respect, and that's just our obligation as a good fundamental organization is what do our staff need, because it is hard out there. I mean, we recognize that it's a lot harder than the work we used to do. So those are some of the things that I think we owe the staff when they come on board. Anything I'm missing with that?
No, I think that's great. Leon just hit it. It's just I can't tell you enough the value of having the best people around us and wrapping that support around you with good compensation. That's the main thing that we talk about. There's one other thing that I can think of real quick that we're committed for our value. We will give you the best training that you can possibly get. We will give you training every quarter, and it will be evidence-based stuff. That's all we do. We don't just walk around and develop something in our basement and roll it out. What we're going to do is we've identified key training components that is nationally accredited, evidence-based, and we teach that. We give out curriculum, and that is for you to use and put in documentation and all that. And when you go to court or whatever you're working with the family, you're professional, you have professional curriculum, and that means a lot more than someone just coming in and talking with you. So that's a critical component as far as that goes.
I think the other thing that I wanted to just say real briefly, and we've talked about it a little bit already, is just our role as being leaders. We need to, for our staff's sake, to be out in front and hearing things as they develop, because they are changing so fast these days that, if we hadn't been on the front lines with the child welfare and the Medicaid services, a lot of our staff wouldn't even know right now, well, what's happening with all these Medicaid changes, and people are all confused, and so right now we're in a good position to be able to train them on those kinds of things and have them understand what's coming down the road. And with the child welfare, like you said, forms are changing all the time, and obligations are changing all the time. So that's our commitment too, is to be out in front and have our other staff, our executive team members, having their ears and eyes out there as well. So
okay, them are some of our values that we have. I think to wrap up, what a critical role that you have an opportunity to play to help children and families. Some are going to need more help than others. You're going to see a lot of tough situations, and we're going to do the best we can that Leon has described to give you the support, the tools, the compensation to be successful. And we're only as good as our employees are. And so it's a privilege that you're with us. And me and Leon look forward to, we can't get everywhere. We have group supervisions all across the state, but we look forward to meeting all our staff. You'll see us at regional meetings, and we're going to wish you the best. We're excited to have you with us. And I think as we move forward, a key message I'd like you to take out of today, and then you can give one that you can think about. But I hope as you heard me and Leon talk today, I hope you heard what's in the heart for Families First is through satisfaction surveys, through the support we do, people staying with us. We're an agency that cares, and we want to make sure that our employees are successful. I think that's a key message, and because we outline some of the stuff that we do, I think that's just a key message they hear, Leon.
It really is. It's important that Families First isn't just a name. We really do believe in taking care of our families that work for us so that they can take care of the families that we work for out there. So when people just throw out mission statements and you know what they believe in, I think that people will find when they come on board here that we really try to do that in all of our day-to-day work, is keep those needs first and foremost. So.
Okay, best of luck. It was a privilege to have an opportunity to talk to you. We look forward to seeing you, and we're excited to see our next adventure when we get to see you. Thank you for watching.
Welcome aboard, everybody.